The X1 is BMW's smallest SUV, and it's been completely redesigned for 2023. So how efficient will this tiny SUV be? Today, we're going to find out. This is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2023 BMW X1. Before we get started, let's hop out, take a look at it. So, completely redesigned for the 23 model year. We've got quite a few options on this particular X1. It's finished in Cape York green, kind of a pastel gray-green color. It works for me, fits the vibe of the X1 overall, in my opinion. Another option we have on this car is the M Sport package. We have a set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, which is kind of hilarious for an X1, but that's what we're running on today. If you want to learn more about the X1 overall as a whole, what it's been like to live with, make sure you check the link in the description. That'll take you to all of our other videos on this car. But for now, let's go ahead, hop in to this Mocha interior and get started with our test. So, why do we run this test? Well, the EPA's fuel economy test, which gives this BMW X1 34 MPG on the highway, only averages 48 miles per hour. And we know that some people like to take their cars on actual road trips. So what we're going to do today is go out 50 miles and back 50 miles, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a more real-world figure. A couple of things worth noting for today's test. Outside temperature is 74 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to be running the climate control inside the cabin at 73 degrees auto. Tire pressures have been set to their factory door placard indicated 32 PSI cold, and we're going to be using the same gas pump both times, using the same 3-click filling method to get the most accurate results possible. Okay, let's hop out, grab our first fill. Almost 12 gallons going in there for our first fill. Premium fuel, of course, here in the X1. Okay, everything is set up. Climate's on 73 auto. Trip has been reset. Go ahead and we'll get started here with our test. So, we have 3 different drive modes here on this X1. Get to them by pressing this My Modes button here down on the console. We've got Personal, Sport, and Efficient. Actually, you know what? I take that back. We have more than 3 drive modes. What else do we have? We've also got Expressive. Well, today we're going to stick with Efficient, which is just BMW's new way of saying Eco Pro. That'll give this X1 the best chance of meeting its EPA estimated 34 MPG. What's interesting about this is this will just stay on the screen until you tell it to get out of there. But anyways, highway's about a half mile away. Drive nice and slowly until I get there, and I'll update you guys when I am emerging on. Now, the purpose of this test is not to hypermile. I'm simply going to merge onto the highway, set the cruise control to a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour, and just drive like any normal person would. Not going to be doing any sort of hypermiling or any purposely economical driving. We're just going to get merged on here and set our cruise control. Man, efficient mode makes you really have to bury your foot into the pedal to go anywhere. Being that this is a BMW, we're going to set this 1 mile per hour fast. That should translate to an accurate readout there on our GPSs. Nice. Okay, well, here we are on the highway in the new X1. Under first impressions, it's just about what you'd expect. It's pretty cozy. It's got great visibility. I've got a ton of headroom in here. The seats are pretty comfortable, and I think this will probably end up being a pretty good trip today in this car. No real driver aids in here. We just have a standard cruise control, and it's funny because we have a cruise control mode button, but when you press it, it says no function available. So that could be a chip issue or something, because this would normally be your toggle to switch back and forth from adaptive cruise to regular cruise. And I imagine this blank button here would be to adjust your distance. But as you can see, no buttons of the sort here in this particular X1. So I think that's about it. Minimal wind noise, minimal road noise, a little bit from those Pilot Sport 4S's, but overall, not so bad. I'm going to go ahead and get settled in here in the X1, and I'll update you all in about 95 miles once I am towards the end of my journey. concluding our drive here in the 2023 X1 and indicated on the cluster 40.7 MPG, so almost 7 MPG higher than EPA's rating of 34. We'll have to see how accurate that is once we get back to the pump. The only discrepancy I'm seeing right now is there's a slight difference in the trip computer on the car versus the GPS. The car thinks we've gone about 0.3 of a mile further than we actually have. So I don't know, somewhere around 40 MPG is kind of what I'm expecting to get on our readout from the pump. These BMWs have been so incredibly efficient lately. We've been seeing it with this 4-cylinder turbo, we've been seeing it with the B58 6-cylinder turbo, and even with the S68 twin turbo V8. All of these cars with these engines have beat their EPA rating. So BMW's been doing some crazy stuff lately with these cars and just making them incredibly efficient. But how's it been to ride in? It's been quite nice. The ambient lighting, as you can see, demonstrating we are in efficient mode. We've got some light blue going on. But overall, it's been a nice ride. The seat is super supportive and my back's fine. It's quiet. Even on these Pilot Sport 4S's, minimal wind intrusion, and honestly, if you look at this thing from the outside, it doesn't look super slippery, but I mean, we're approaching like 41 MPG at this point, so super impressed, at least with the cluster readout. Harman Kardon system in here, pretty good. Make sure you check out Charlie's review on that. Otherwise, though, I'm going to finish out my last like mile or so here, and I'll catch up with all of you once I have brimmed the tank on the BMW X1. 2.377 gallons going in there for our final fill. It's looking like we're going to have a pretty good number here when we hop inside and see how we did. Today's journey was 102.37 miles. We'll go ahead and divide that by the 2.377 gallons of premium fuel that we put into this X1, and that gives us 43 MPG out of this X1, and that is pretty consistent with the 42 MPG we were reading out just as I pulled in to get gas. So 43 MPG here with this X1, and that is incredible considering EPA's rating for this car is 34. So beating EPA by 9 MPG, consistent with the cluster, what the car was reading out, as well as our calculation. Now we'll go ahead and multiply this by 14.3, as that is the fuel capacity of the X1. And that gives you an effective highway cruising range of 610 miles. So quite a few miles over the 500-mile mark that we like to see. So if you want something that's incredibly efficient, pretty user-friendly, apart from a couple of things with iDrive 8, but we'll gloss over that for now. And I mean, this is just such a great little package. This car as spec is almost 50 grand, but it starts under 40. So you could have something that is still a BMW that gets 43 MPG, 600 miles of cruising range, and just such an impressive little SUV. So my respect has grown for the X1. And there you go, 43 MPG, 610 miles of effective highway cruising range. Well, that'll wrap it up for us today. If you guys want to learn more about the BMW X1, we will have a link in the description that will lead you to all of our other videos on it. But that'll wrap it up for the fuel economy test. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.